Some of these videos are going to be a lot of effort, and some of them are going to be like what you're going to hear right now. Run of the mill, one shot, screw it, here we go. I've been reading some King Arthur legends lately. Now, I can barely read, and guess what? I'm not an Undertales fan, so I have no excuse. But I've been cooking up some content on the subject, and I've been thinking about Merlin. Merlin's just wild, you know? Like, if you don't know much about King Arthur legends, you're probably going to think Merlin is wise and all that stuff. He's a loony. So I'm going to paraphrase from a book I'm reading, but not enough that you can sue me for copyright issues. So let us therefore begin with Merlin's birth. Okay, we're going all the way to when Merlin, I don't know, just did stuff. Who became Arthur's greatest consultor, and wrought many strange and wonderful things in this far off land. He did a bunch of hooky cookies, you know, soupadoopies with the mookies. The story of his coming, I also come, and the events that led to the appearance of Arthur himself is less often told. So here I will say these words as I do this wise introduction. You know, the old. There was a story I once heard in a far off land, from a storyteller who told stories and blah blah blah. So, from I will tell you the story as I have it heard it told. No one can speak with complete certainty of the origins of Merlin, but one tale is told, and that is seen in Master Thomas chose not to include it in his great book. I'm assuming when they're referring to Master Thomas's great book, they're referring to the book, uh, what is it called? Lamont d'Arthur, something French. The French suck. Very bloodthirsty in their national anthem. Have you ever heard the French national anthem? A time came when the prince, leader of North Wales, and Gwendu. Fucking hell. How the fuck do you say this? Gwendoleeu, King of Scotland, were at war with each other. Merlin joined the ranks of the Welsh. So did his friend, we're just going to say Robert. Shut up, computer. Who married Gwenedy, we're going to call her Gwen, when Merlin wed the king's sister with them, blah, 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 all around, the fighting continued. And I'm just going to paraphrase the story. So Merlin is going to get married, but then he's like, screw it, I'm going to run away into the forest. Eventually he runs away into the forest, and then his wife is sad. And then the wife gets remarried, and Merlin comes out of the forest riding a riding a deer? Like, for frickin', I don't know why. He himself rode at the head of this strange column on a great stage. Maybe elk. It's kind of hard to. I'm going to say moose, since moose seem to be the only thing with horns big enough to ride. So Merlin's, he's pulling up in a moose. You know why moose are called moose if they're plural or if it's singular? Because if it's a bear, prepare. If it's a moose, you're fucked. There's a plural to bears because it matters whether or not there's one bear or two bears. One bear, I'm a man, I could take on a bear. Two bears, when they double up on you, nah. But with moose, don't matter if there's 1 or 50. If it's a moose, you're fucked. There could be 13, 14, or 2, or 1. If there's any more than a percentage of a moose, you're fucked. So Merlin pulls up on a moose at the wedding. He's like, yo, tight. I got my moose, and I was like, yo, I wanted to say hi to the woman who would have married me if I didn't run away into the forest. And she's like, oh my god, it's good to see you again. How you been, my old friend? And the soon-to-be husband just like laughing. He's like, this MF pulls up on a moose. Merlin gets upset, rips the head off of the moose, throws it like a freaking boomerang, and the horns go into the husband. The husband falls down dead. Merlin's like tight, so he hops off the dead moose onto another moose, starts riding it like a horse. There's knights coming after him. The knights start swinging their swords. They knock him off. Merlin falls into the river, hits his head, and has more brain damage. And he's just like going down the river like, oh, man, I should have thrown more moose's heads. Anywho, he's knocked unconscious till the next story. So, next story comes up. We're just going to skip forwards a couple years or so. And there's a king like, my head hurts. I keep having nightmares of 12 lions consuming my wife. Yo, knight, go out there and find Merlin. Since apparently in those years, Merlin has somehow become a wide sage across the lands. Don't know why Merlin's now seen as wise, but apparently he is. So the knight's like, I'm a walking in a nighting. So the knight goes out, and then he finds a woman in the forest, and she's like, yo, you looking for Merlin, aren't you? And the knight's like, yeah, you seen him? Tell you what, go into town, find 4 men and a boy. Come back when you got those ingredients, you homie. So the knight goes into the town, is like, yo, I'm looking for 4 men and a boy. At first they're like, we don't do stuff with boys. If you exclude the boy, yeah, we can join an orgy. And the knight's like, nah, not for an orgy. I want to take you to this magical woman I found in the forest. We don't do drugs or cult stuff like that. Like, nah, trust. So they come back. The woman's like, tight. You got the ingredients. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. You need to kill a bull. A bull, yeah. And then you're going to tell the 4 men to drag it, each one holding one limb. So you're going to kill the big bull. There's a bull running around causing problems or something. By the way, I'm cooking up my own King Arthur legend. I'm combining different stories from different elements from different stories. So if you're going to try to find this in a King Arthur legend book, you ain't going to find shit. So they do some shit. They find the bull. The knight kills it with their knight super awesome abilities. I'm just going to call the knight K, even though that's not going to make sense because it's a different knight and you're going to find out why it don't make sense. We're just going to say K. So K kills the bull, this giant bull. The 4 men drag it. They bring it back to the woman. The woman's like, okay, you 4 men go home. You little boy. What you're going to do is you're going to spin the bull on the cooking wheel as you cook the bull. So they cook the bull, and then the woman's like, okay, don't worry, Merlin's gonna come. They're like, how do you know Merlin's gonna come? Merlin pops out from nowhere. Well, the woman leaves first because she's like, I gotta do magic shroom somewhere else or something. So Merlin comes out of a tree, hops on the bull, eats it all, passes out asleep. So the knight picks up Merlin in his plump belly, throws him on the underside of a horse, ties him up, starts riding back, and Merlin's like, oh no, you captured me. Can I have some more meat? They're like, you're on the underside of a horse. There's all the meat you could ever want. Anywho, Merlin comes back, and the king's like, yo, Merlin, I want you to interpret this dream I had. And Merlin's like, I will only interpret the dream if you promise to let me go free, and you promise not to kill me. And the king's like, fine, why? Why not? So Merlin says, tell me your dream, O wise king. The king's like, yeah, keep having this dream that 12 tigers are sleeping with my woman. You hear me, man? And Merlin's like, oh, yeah, they are sleeping with them, and they're doing something else. Since the line "sleep with the woman, then eat her." He's like, yeah, but they're not sleeping with them; they're fucking them. You see those 12 ladies in waiting? They're actually men. The king rips off their clothes and is like, oh my god, they have penises. They're cross dressers. What do you do with people to sleep with the king's wife? You burn them all alive. So 12 people were burned alive. Not for cross dressing. The King Arthur legends apparently are pro cross dressing. Well, I guess neutral would be the word for it. So, anywho, they're burned alive. Merlin's about to peace out, but he says, hey, King, one more thing you need to know. That knight is a woman. And then it's revealed the knight is a woman. I don't know what the moral of the story is, but here's all you need to know about most King Arthur legend. Somebody cheats, someone's burned alive. Um, Usually there's a marriage in there somewhere. Merlin be cooking some crazy stuff. I don't really know what the moral message is in most of these stories, since usually there's a lot of death and infidelity, and usually a dream interpretation in there somewhere.